What's up, everybody? It's your friend Leo Francis here, back with another episode of Nothing Tastes Sweeter Than Nostalgia. Today, as a self-proclaimed s'mores enthusiast, I'll be dedicating an entire episode to my favorite flavor combination and enjoying every second of it. So, strap in for my homage to all things s'mores, and without further ado, let's dive right in.
Hey yo, basically, there is no calm to me, and I go all out with me, a chop pure fuckery. Wanna be MCs need a new policy, try honesty, honestly, you astonish me.
On this episode, I'll be tasting and reviewing 10 different s'mores flavored junk foods, as well as running down my 5 all-time favorite s'mores themed snacks. But first, I wanted to start it all off with a toast. So I wanted to start this off with a toast, and what better way to kick off the s'mores episode than by toasting with a glass of this, the limited edition s'mores flavored Bailey's Irish Cream. So here it is, a toast to all of you out there watching, whether you have sat through every episode so far or whether this is the first time you are checking out the show. I appreciate you, and I hope that you stick around because I definitely have some fun stuff planned. Now, this bottle was actually a Christmas gift from my wife, and when I first received it, I could not stop drinking it. But considering that it is a limited edition, and now nearly finished, I find that recently I have been trying to savor every remaining drop. So, to my friends and fellow s'mores lovers, this one is for you. Cheers. Wow. I mean, that is utter perfection. It is every bit as smooth and creamy and delicious as the traditional Baileys, but with very distinct notes of cocoa and graham cracker that really help bring the flavor profile to life. This combination is heavenly and definitely a winner for me. So I'm going to give this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely delicious. And to the people at the Bailey's Company, I realize that this one was a limited release, but even if we only bring it back seasonally, this one is just too good to let disappear forever. And yeah, there you have it. Okay, so in some extremely exciting and incredibly relevant news, Breyer's Ice Cream has teamed up with Hershey's Chocolate to bring us the new Campfire S'mores collection. This includes a s'mores flavored ice cream, s'mores flavored ice cream sandwiches, and s'mores flavored ice cream bars. And as someone who is both a s'mores enthusiast and a massive fan of Breyer's Ice Cream, I absolutely cannot wait to see how these taste. And much to my surprise, they are already hitting our local freezer sections as we speak. Now, what kind of s'mores enthusiast would I be if I hadn't tracked down all 3 of these so that we could taste them here today? So, here they are, and without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, first up, the s'mores ice cream. Okay, this is what it looks like. And I have to say off the bat, I am a little concerned because it does not seem like there is any substantial amount of chocolate in here. But who knows? Now we see how it tastes. Cheers. Okay. Okay, so there are actually chocolate swirls inside. Just can't really see them very well from the top. Okay, so this one is really good. The flavor of the toasted marshmallow is really coming through here and nicely complemented by those graham cookie pieces and the flavor of the cocoa, though for my money they definitely could have gone a little heavier on the chocolate. Either way, I'm still going to give this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, up next, the ice cream sandwich. This is what it looks like. Graham cookie pieces on either side, s'mores ice cream in the middle. Now let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, well, if I'm being honest, I actually thought I was going to enjoy the ice cream sandwiches the most out of all three items. But as it turns out, despite how much I like that toasted marshmallow ice cream, there's just not a lot of chocolate here. And those graham cookies, while tasty, are extremely dry. So for me, this one tastes a lot more like disappointment than anything else. So I'm going to give this one 2 out of 5 stars. Moving on. And finally, the ice cream bar. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it is coated in chocolate and covered in graham cookie crumbles. But now let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Mmm. Mm-hmm. No. This is more like it. You can see that toasted marshmallow ice cream in the center. And this is easily the best of the three. Okay, so this is hands down the best of the three because it has a much better ratio between the three different elements. It is coated in an ample amount of chocolate and covered in the ideal amount of graham cookie pieces to perfectly complement that toasted marshmallow ice cream in the center. So I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5 stars. Absolutely delicious and highly recommended. And in other s'mores related news, earlier this year it was announced that this would be the final year of the S'mores Girl Scout cookie, originally released in 2017. And as a s'mores enthusiast, it got me thinking, why haven't I been going back again for these year after year? So I did some digging, and as it turns out, S'mores Girl Scout cookies are not readily available in my area, which is likely why I haven't gravitated towards them over the last several years. So, before they go away, I tracked down a package and thought I would give them a taste, even if it is just this one last time. Okay, this is what it looks like. You can see the s'mores branding on the outside of the graham cookie. For the filling, on one side we have marshmallow, and on the other side we have chocolate. Now let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Mmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's the thing. As soon as I bit into these, I began having this vague recollection of having tasted these before, back when I lived in California when they were first released. And the reason I remember that, after tasting these, is I felt the same feelings of disappointment back then that I did just now. And it pains me to say that because I am a lover of both s'mores and the Girl Scouts, but frankly, the marshmallow here tastes more like a vanilla cream and doesn't have any of the signature texture of a marshmallow. So, while I will continue to support the Girl Scouts, sadly, I will not miss these when they are gone next year. Okay, next I'll be tasting a few different random s'mores flavored snacks that I found around town. First is this Better Goods s'mores spread that I picked up at Walmart. It features real cocoa, marshmallow, and chunks of graham cookie pieces. Now, let's see what we're working with. So here is what we are working with. As you can see, there are swirls of chocolate and marshmallow cream, and while I cannot see them, I am assuming the chunks of graham cookie pieces are in there as promised. So, now let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Mmm. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a solid take on the flavor profile. The chocolate is rich and creamy, and I am loving the addition of those graham cookie pieces for added taste and texture. My only complaint here is that the texture of the marshmallow is closer to Nutella than it is to marshmallow fluff. And while it definitely tastes like marshmallow, texturally speaking, I would have preferred the latter. Either way, this is still extremely tasty, so I'm going to give this 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you are a fan of s'mores, I would absolutely recommend checking this out. Moving on. Okay, next up, I found a similar s'mores spread from Favorite Day, which is one of Target's in-store brands, so I had to pick one up so I could see how it compares. Okay, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it is very similar to the Better Goods s'mores spread from Walmart. There are waves of chocolate and marshmallow cream, and apparently there are graham cracker crumbles inside. But now let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Okay. Okay, so this is extremely similar to the Walmart version, except not only is the texture of the marshmallow off here, but the flavor is off as well. I mean, I'm just not tasting marshmallow at all. It tastes more like a generic vanilla cream, which is tasty enough, but certainly not a true s'mores spread, in my opinion. So I'll give this one 2 out of 5 stars. Moving on. And last up, as you can clearly see here, we have this Malto Meals S'mores Cereal. And yes, this 30-ounce bag is the only size that it comes in. Okay, this actually looks really good. We have what looks like golden grahams, Cocoa Puffs, and mini marshmallows to round out the flavor profile, but now let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Mmm. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's up. Wow. Okay, so this was my first time trying any of the Malto Meal big bagged cereals, and I have to say I am thoroughly impressed. I mean, this is an amazing s'mores cereal in terms of the flavor profile. If I have one small complaint, I will say that while I do enjoy the cocoa flavor here, I'm not sure that the texture of the Cocoa Puffs work with the rest of the cereal. Because while they stay super crunchy, the rest of the cereal loses its crunch really quickly, and it makes for a texture that is relatively off-putting. Still, minor complaints aside, this is a perfectly acceptable s'mores cereal, and considering that this massive bag is under $6, it's also the deal of the century. So, I'm going to give this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you are a fan of s'mores cereals, I would absolutely recommend checking this one out. Okay, so as I've said in the past, my memories of my childhood are inextricably linked to the TV shows, movies, video games, comic books, and junk food I was consuming at the time. And one of the things I love so much about revisiting these things from my past is that sometimes something as simple as a taste, or a sound, or a smell can be like opening a time capsule that instantly transports me right back to simpler times in my life. Now, I'm not exactly sure why I love s'mores so much, but I'm pretty sure that my obsession started back when I was a kid and I used to go camping with my grandfather. He was a scout leader, and we had an entire troop made up of family members and close friends of the family, and we went camping once a month. And it was definitely those nights around the fire where I developed my love for that flavor combination. So I wanted to celebrate my love of s'mores by running down my 5 all-time favorite s'mores flavored junk foods. So, let's get started. Okay, first up on my list were these marvels of modern technology, Suddenly S'mores. Originally released in 1990, these were the first microwavable s'mores meant to capitalize on the novelty and increasing popularity of the microwave oven, which had become more common in the mid to late 80s as the appliances became more affordable.
What goes first? The graham cracker, the marshmallow, or the chocolate? Gee, s'mores are hard to make.
Hey, who ate the chocolate?
There's an easier way to enjoy the campfire goodness of s'mores. Suddenly S'mores. Just pop them in the microwave and they turn into an ooey gooey chocolatey fudge graham sandwich. Suddenly S'mores. Suddenly the great taste of s'mores in seconds.
Now, there's a few things you should know about me. The first is that I don't like to get messy when I'm eating. The second is that in general, I don't like putting things in the microwave. So what you need to understand about these is that while they were absolutely delicious, when heated up, the chocolate would get really runny and messy, and the texture of the marshmallow would change. So at first I tried undercooking them, just put them in for a few seconds at a time, but eventually I landed on just eating them straight out of the package and skipping the microwave altogether. And despite the fact that they were designed to be put in the microwave, that's when I started enjoying them the most. There was something so unique about the texture of that marshmallow before it was microwaved, and the way that it combined with the crunch of the graham cookie and the rich, creamy deliciousness of the chocolate is what made these so memorable for me. Sadly, once the gimmick had run its course, sales began to decline, and by early 1992, suddenly s'mores were no more. And I was bummed when it happened, because even though it is easy to recreate s'mores at your own house, there is something about the taste and texture of that marshmallow that will never be recreated. Which is why there will always be a special place in my heart for these microwavable s'mores that I preferred not to microwave. R.I.P. to an absolute legend in the world of s'mores junk food. Okay, this next one will come as no surprise to anyone who is a fan of s'mores or anyone who's a fan of Pop-Tarts. I'm speaking, of course, of the s'mores Pop-Tart. Originally released in 1992, this one is tied for my all-time favorite flavor of Pop-Tart. It's also widely considered to be one of the most popular flavors the brand has ever released. This one features side-by-side layers of chocolate and marshmallow fluff inside a light graham-flavored pastry shell coated in a chocolate frosting. Okay, now here's some fun trivia for you. There's actually a little bit of a question as to where the inspiration for the s'mores Pop-Tart came from, because as I was researching the history, I actually came across someone who claims that they invented the s'mores Pop-Tart back when they were 10 years old. That's right. This person claims that they came up with the idea back in 1990 and sent it off unsolicited to the Pop-Tart company and never heard anything back. Then, just 2 short years later, s'mores Pop-Tarts officially hit store shelves. Now, there's absolutely nothing to verify or confirm this, but if you think about how decadent the s'mores Pop-Tart is compared with some of the other early flavors, I will say I would not be surprised to learn that it had been inspired by the brain of a 10-year-old. Because frankly, if you had asked me when I was 10 years old what flavors I wanted in my Pop-Tart, I'm fairly certain that chocolate and marshmallow would have been 2 of the first things out of my mouth as well. So, while there is some uncertainty over the origins of the s'mores Pop-Tart, there is absolutely no uncertainty whatsoever when it comes to just how delicious they are, with the perfect balance between the flavors of chocolate, marshmallow, and graham, as well as the satisfying texture of the marshmallow fluff. These are just as good right out of the package as they are after being toasted. I mean, there's a reason that these are one of the all-time most popular varieties of Pop-Tarts, and that's because the flavor combination is undeniable. But, I mean, we already knew that, right? Isn't that what this whole episode is about?
Kellogg's Pop-Tarts are popping up, up, up. So cool, they're hot, so hot. The taste of real fruit, real hot, 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 hot. They taste so cool. They're hot, so hot. They're cool.
Now, if you want all the hot taste of chocolate and marshmallow s'mores, don't forget your toaster. New Kellogg's S'mores Pop-Tarts.
Okay, next up, this one may not have been released in the 80s or 90s, as many of my selections often are, but it was just as memorable, and it was a staple of my junk food diet when I first moved to California. Originally released in 2003, the Hershey's S'mores candy bar consisted of a layer of graham cracker bits covered in a layer of marshmallow, then coated in milk chocolate. And as a self-proclaimed s'mores connoisseur, it was not only a quick and easy way for me to get my fix of that absolutely heavenly flavor combination, but one of my favorite candy bars of all time. Now, I have to say, it wasn't just the flavor combination. There were actually a ton of things that made me fall in love with this candy bar. The first is that the ratio between the different elements is utterly perfect. The second is that the marshmallow filling here has the same texture as marshmallow fluff. And I feel like I've been saying this all night, but it's one of the things many people get wrong when crafting a s'mores-flavored junk food, is that they forget that the texture of the marshmallow is nearly as important as the taste, you know? And not only did this candy bar understand that, but it absolutely nailed it.
Getting my paws on those delicious s'mores used to be a whole to-do. Not anymore. Thanks to Hershey S'mores candy bars, life's never been better. Only Hershey's could take their pure milk chocolate and wrap it around marshmallow and crunchy graham cracker bits. If you ask me, it's the best thing to happen to s'mores since, well,
Okay, here we
s'mores.
go. See you next week.
Now I just run out, stock up, and I'm good to go.
Hershey's S'mores, a new way to enjoy a classic.
Sadly, this candy was discontinued in 2012, leaving us without a proper s'mores-flavored candy bar in the candy aisle. And I have to say, I still think about it all the time. So, you can imagine how excited I was when I learned that one of my favorite companies, called Nutty and Nostalgic, who make recreated versions of your favorite discontinued snack foods, has a version of the Hershey's S'mores candy bar, appropriately titled S'mores Candy Bar, and you know I had to pick up a jar so I could see how it compares. So, let's see what we're working with. Okay, so as you can see here, their version consists of a chocolate frosting, marshmallow fluff, and a graham cracker peanut butter. But now let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Mmm. Mmm. Wow. Oh my God. My God, that is fucking delicious. I mean, they really managed to capture every single one of the signature tastes and textures of the original candy bar, plus that beautiful little added kick you get from the peanut butter, which absolutely complements the flavor of the s'mores without overpowering them. I mean, this might not be a fully accurate recreation because of the peanut butter, but they absolutely nailed this flavor profile. So I'm going to give this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely recommended. Okay, the next item on my list is a little outside the box. Now, back when I lived in Southern California, I used to run a food blog in which I tasted and reviewed donuts and Nashville hot chicken. And in the 3 years that I ran that food blog, I must have tasted nearly every donut shop, from the South Bay deep into the valley. And being that I am a s'mores enthusiast, anytime one of those donut shops had a s'mores donut, I could not say no. And one of the things I loved so much was seeing the inventive and different ways that each of these individual shops would create the flavor profile. And as such, I have tasted a ton of s'mores donuts. But of all the s'mores donuts in all the top-rated donut shops across Southern California, one stands head and shoulders above the rest. Originally opened in 2013 in Hollywood, California, just a few blocks from the Hollywood Walk of Fame, is a small and unassuming donut shop called Kettle Glazed Donuts, whose s'mores donut, in my opinion, is far and away the best in Southern California. And it isn't just about the taste. It is about the way the various elements are presented here. Because what you have is a chocolate frosted donut in which the whole only goes about 3/4 of the way through the donut, and then is filled with this ooey, gooey, toasted marshmallow fluff that literally melts in your mouth. Then, to top it all off and complete the flavor profile, they actually add slivers of graham cracker to that well of marshmallow fluff in the center of the donut, and even just talking about it right now is starting to make my mouth water. Now, sadly, I moved away from Southern California in 2021, and outside of my friends and family, I think this donut might be the thing I miss the most about my time there. I mean, seriously, I haven't had one in over 4 years, and it still lives rent-free in my head almost daily. But here's the thing, while I can no longer just drop by this hidden gem of a donut shop, if you live in or around Southern California, I would absolutely recommend you check them out. Check out their version of the cronut, which is one of the things that they are famous for, and while you are there, do not miss out on one of the best s'mores-flavored junk foods in existence. I'd give this donut the perfect 5 out of 5 stars, and I will post a link to their website in the description in case you are fortunate enough to live close by. Now, I've said this before, but almost no junk food list of mine would be complete without a little cereal. And considering this next one is not only s'mores flavored, but my favorite cereal of all time, I absolutely had to include it. I'm speaking, of course, of S'mores Crunch. Originally introduced in 1982, some of my earliest memories are of sitting at the kitchen table with a bowl of s'mores crunch, reading the back of the box before pouring a second bowl and carrying it into the living room to watch cartoons. And I am fairly sure that this is one of many culinary experiences of my youth that have turned me into the s'mores enthusiast I am today.
Time for breakfast.
Okay. It's here. Marshmallows and chocolate graham crackers together in new s'mores crunch cereal. A fantastic part of this complete breakfast.
Breakfast? You want breakfast?
Yeah.
You finally made it.
Hilarious, guys. It's really here. S'mores crunch.
Where'd that come from?
New s'mores crunch. Like a dream come true.
I mean, this cereal was unparalleled in its deliciousness. It consisted of chocolate-covered Golden Grahams and mini marshmallows, and frankly, sometimes when it comes to s'mores, simplicity is best. You know? That's one of the things I love about the flavor profile, is that you actually don't need to do much to the ingredients to make them work together. You know? And this cereal just nailed it, which is what made it so memorable, and an absolute staple of every sleepover and Saturday morning, you know? So I remember being devastated when they stopped making it, you know? Especially because it's not like they announced it was happening on the news, and we didn't have the internet back then. One day my mom just stopped coming home with it, and that was the last we heard of it, you know? So you can imagine how excited I was last year around this time when Golden Grahams announced that they were releasing a revised version of my all-time favorite cereal. And while they called their version S'mores, it's clear from the branding that this is a relaunch of the OG S'mores Crunch. For a fun fact, this re-release is actually what set me off down this nostalgic junk food rabbit hole I currently find myself in. So while it is not the first time I have tasted it, I did have another box lying around from last year's re-release, and it is nearing its best by date, so I thought it would be the perfect time to revisit it and see how it compares with the original. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, so this version is slightly different from the original. While the original had chocolate-covered Golden Grahams and mini marshmallows, this version has both regular Golden Grahams, chocolate-covered Golden Grahams, and mini marshmallows. But now let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. No. Okay, so here's the thing. It's always going to be tough for some variation or rebooted version to live up to the OG. So I think I may have been a little hard on this the first time that I tried it. And it is, without a doubt, an inferior version, but it's still pretty goddamn good. You know? I mean, listen, it's nothing like a bowl of the classic version of this cereal, because the ratio is off now with the addition of the regular Golden Grahams, but either way, this is a welcome throwback for me, and a delicious one at that. So I'm going to give this 3.5 out of 5 stars. And yeah, there you have it. Well, that does it for episode 4. Thank you so much for checking out my exploration of all things s'mores. If you'd like to see more, I'll leave a link to previous episodes here. And just remember that while there is a ton of delicious junk food out there in the world, nothing tastes sweeter than nostalgia. My name is Leo Francis, and I hope to see you back here soon.